What's the most famous mountain in the world? Well, that's pretty easy. But I think a more interesting question is, what's the most visible mountain in the world? Like, what's the mountain that's seen by the most people around the globe? And that got me thinking, what are the most visible mountains in the world? Well, the most famous ones, based on the internet, are Everest, K2, basically an Everest wannabe, the Matterhorn, Mount Fuji, Kilimanjaro, Aconcagua, Denali, and then a handful of B-list mountains, the equivalent of the cast of Knives Out. Super cool, but come on, they're no Tom Cruise. The most visible mountains in the world, on the other hand, have to appear to people in less obvious ways, like maybe corporate logos. Okay, so we've got Paramount Peak, which is seen by millions, maybe billions of people who watch movies, but that's not actually a real mountain. It's like a blend of a mountain in Utah and maybe a mountain in South America, but either way, it's not real. Then we've got Prudential, which for anybody looking for term life insurance is actually looking at the Rock of Gibraltar. Okay, so the other day I was gassing up, going into a convenience store, and it hit me. The most visible mountain in the world is seen by millions of people every day. They just don't know that there's a real life mountain staring back at them. Yep, the Coors Light can is graced by Wilson Peak, a real mountain near Telluride, Colorado. And I thought to myself, can I climb that? Can I climb the most famous mountain in the world that nobody knows about?
This peak back here, Wilson Peak, is one of the most famous visible peaks in the world. I am planning on actually climbing Wilson Peak, the Coors Light Peak. I've done some mountaineering, I've done some 14,000 foot peaks in the past, but this will be the first time I've ever done it solo. I'm gonna be camping back at Navajo Lake. I'm gonna plan on climbing it tomorrow, although I do have it in the back of my mind that I might come down from the mountain, obviously, if it feels unsafe. The view of the Coors Mountain here is from the other side, so it's not an identical vista. If all goes well, I'll be either cheersing this on the top or safely back at the lake, back at camp. Probably the latter, probably safer. So I'm carrying with me a little bit of safety equipment in order to navigate the terrain up there, which is considered class 3. For those of you who are unfamiliar, class 5 is like where you're on ropes and you're belaying somebody and somebody's like scaling a vertical wall. That's class 5. Class 4 is where you're using ropes and you're navigating across tricky terrain and it's very precarious and you're protecting people against falls. And then class 3 is mostly scrambling. So there's still the risk that I could fall. So I'll be moving across some terrain where falling is not an option. Not gonna lie, I am a little bit nervous. I've climbed 14,000 foot peaks in the past, and I've been on terrain like this, or even more challenging than this one. However, this time, I'm by myself. I'm a little bit nervous. Yeah, it's gonna be fun though. It's gonna be fun. I just got into camp here and taking a look at my data here that Onyx was tracking. Did 5.6 miles in 2,547 feet of elevation gain. I'm kind of worked, and honestly, I think it's just because the altitude. Like I'm literally camping at 11,200 feet. Tomorrow, I'm gonna be climbing Wilson Peak. It's just under 14,100 feet. For all the people who do like the 14ers around here, the Colorado 14ers, this is often one that goes towards the end because it is more technical. There's a lot of the 14ers that are just hike ups where you just are hiking up on top. And this one is considered class 3. So it's in between hiking and climbing. This red rock that's all around here is pretty chossy. So that's the biggest concern with the rock and rock climbing is just loose rock. And what happens if something above me comes down or the rock that I'm on just is loose. You can kind of see the trail just faintly back there, but it goes way up that shoulder in the back, and the peak itself you can't see. It's definitely like just mountaineering 101, get an early start. So I will probably wake up probably right around break of dawn, and then I'm gonna get it going on. So I'll hike across, hike up, and just really try to be out there as early as possible. Just general common mountaineering sense is to start early. So I'll start as early as I can. God, it is so pretty out here. Temperature has definitely dropped. Whew. It's getting cold. All right, so before I go climb the mountain, I need to tell you about today's sponsor of this video. And if you've been around on the channel, you've heard me talk about Element in the past. Element is an electrolyte mix that, in my opinion, is just the best on the market. Element has been sponsoring this channel for a little while, and it's been fantastic for me because I truly love what this product is. It is an electrolyte mix that is not only the best tasting electrolyte mix that I've ever used, it's also the most effective. Today I'm going to be rocking citrus salt. I definitely noticed that I don't have the same muscle fatigue, the headaches, the cramps, the restlessness, the sleeplessness. It makes such a big difference for me to feel at my best when I'm out here on these types of adventures. And right now, if you want to check out Element, they are offering a free sample pack with any purchase. That's 8 of some of their most popular flavors. Just go to the link below at drinkelement.com/erichanson. That's DRINKLMNT.com/erichanson to get your free sample pack. Thanks to Element for sponsoring this video. Now, let's go climb a mountain. Big full moon behind me. It's kind of nice, illuminating the landscape a little bit extra. I'm really excited about today. Still got a little nerves about it, but I won't do anything dumb. It's just going to be a good day to be enjoying these incredible mountains. Definitely worth getting up early, seeing that glow on the horizon, the moon. Last night was 99% illumination, about as full as it can get. So, just so beautiful up here. I love being up this time of day and just seeing the colors of these mountains and the atmosphere. It's special up here. It's windy up here, and it's just gonna keep getting worse. Whew. I can tell it snowed. It snowed up here a couple days ago. It was not much, but definitely there's some old snow and there's some fresh snow. So I just split off from the trail that goes to Mount Wilson. I'm going to Wilson Peak. The fact that both have practically the same name is very confusing. Theoretically, they're both class 3. This one's supposedly a little bit easier. So, feeling a little bit more confident with going to do this one solo. But, that looks like a really beautiful ascent. I think when you're out here, as long as you come down safe, you can't lose. Any option's gonna be great. Look at this thing. Is there gold in there? Crazy. This was an old mine. Getting close to the saddle, and I did notice there's some other climbers that have come up from the other side. So, probably won't be alone up there, which is encouraging. Well, I'm getting into the class 3 terrain here, up on this ridge, and it's just gonna get more and more like on the edge, possible rock fall. So, helmeting up, got some climbing gloves on. It's beautiful up here. I'm up over 13,000 feet now, like 13.2. I am feeling just a little dizzy. You can feel that altitude. I have to slow down just a little bit. Take my time up here. Got off route a little bit, just a little high. I need to go down just a touch. This is very rugged terrain. This is definitely like class 3 stuff here. And again, my biggest worry is that all this rock is just loose. I think I got it though. Whew. I'm feeling the altitude. At least the wind is more protected over here. So there's a couple climbers traversing across this big steep slope. And then I think that's not even the summit. I think that's the false summit. And then there's another peak behind that one that I can see. I feel okay. I am feeling cautious, which is probably good. But the fact that there's a couple of guys ahead and I'm not just like literally the only person on this mountain does make me feel a little better. Not that I should count on anybody else to rescue me, but just the fact that there are other people in the vicinity is helpful. Well, it's definitely like not precarious, but like I need my hands, so I'm gonna put my camera away. I'll see you when I can pull out my camera again. All right, I made it across that. That's class 3 for sure. Wasn't exactly sketchy, but it did just require concentration and my hands to be free. So had to put you away for a little bit. Unfortunately, you didn't get to watch the fun stuff. Making some good progress. There's actually a bit of a trail up here. There's something to follow. So there was definitely like sketchy stuff down there, and there's more on the final pitch, the final ascent. So we'll see, but I'm feeling pretty good. A little dizzy and just like the altitude is getting me, but I'm at 30. Yeah, you can tell. 13,628 according to my watch. About 450, 500 feet more to go. We got this. Woo, let's do it. This section here is super cool looking. Pretty intimidating, but very cool. There's a route. This one back here, that's the summit. Somebody's standing on top of it already. Got to down climb a little bit and then work my way up that gash. And that's the next crux, the most difficult part. Got to descend down that. Some early snowfall. And then climb that. Woo! sketchy, but good handholds. So, I feel okay. All right. I'm gonna put the camera away. Can't pull out my big camera right now. But what's fun about this is the rock is actually really good over here. The other stuff was pretty crappy. There is like early snow, making this a little bit more tricky too. But how about that? Pretty sweet. Beautiful up here. Now this is the fun stuff. Oh yeah. Almost there. Just made it out of the class 3 climb, the crux, past the other party that was up here. So I got this place to myself. Woo-wee. Almost there. Wow. This is awesome. Woo! Did it. Not gonna lie, feels pretty awesome. It is glorious up here. Woohoo! So one of the reasons Wilson Peak is so beautiful and makes such a fitting logo for like a beer can is because there's not much around it. It just stands up from the rest of the terrain around it in a very dramatic way. So, you know, I could see why Coors picked it. I'm not gonna lie, it felt pretty good to accomplish my dream of being on top of the iconic peak, gracing the can of the 7th most popular beer. Standing here, bathed in glory, there was only one thing left to do. Let out an incredibly manly yell. Woohoo! Come on, a little more. Yeehaw! One more. Ay ay. Nailed it. Well, pretty special up here. I do feel really proud, honestly, to have climbed this. I've only climbed, that I can remember, one other 14er in Colorado. And I think this is one that's considered not the hardest by any means, but like on the upper end of difficulty. So feel good about that. And now I'm gonna put the camera away. I'll see you back at camp. Woohoo! Well, I feel like there's only one true way to celebrate climbing Wilson Peak. Let me just get something out of the cooler. Oh, ho, ho. Chilled by the Rockies. Yeah. Well, everybody, that was a fun one. Yeah, if you're ever cruising through a gas station or a convenience store, you look at this mountain and you wonder, can I climb on top of that? Well, the answer is yes, you can. That was a pretty bad one, I'm sorry. But anyway, cheers everybody. That was an adventure. Also, it's too bad Coors Light just isn't that good of a beer. Oh well. I might be a little buzzed off the Coors Light. That was a tall boy, and I'm a little dehydrated still. Oops.